Hello everyone, this is CJNovo992 and today we're back for the brand new video, and we're starting the video off looking like Professor Xavier for one reason and one reason only. That there was the quintessential Rangers performance. I'm knackered, I'm sore, I could have picked up a 50 pence with the arse cheeks for the last 98.5 minutes, but we got the job done. We have qualified into the next round. We have bagged £5 million. Thank you, UEFA. Hopefully we buy a defence. Where and do you know what our reward for coming away from that sticky, ugly performance is? 2 games, 180 minutes versus PSV. A buzzing. So people, you might have known already from my tone and the way I've started the game, it wasn't exactly a football and spectacular on the eyeballs, but it was never ever going to be that way. And we spoke about that last week in yesterday's preview. Now, there wasn't one yesterday, as I'm not sure if people are still wanting to see the previews before every game. Maybe you can let me know in the comment section below. But we spoke about this game a week ago and we said exactly what this tie is going to be. Servette, you can say what you want about them, and I know everyone's doing revisional history and calling them farmers and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and I get the frustration when maybe you look at them on paper, but they're not a terrible side. They're not as bad as some people are trying to make them out to be. Just ask Genk how bad this Servette squad is. Ask Genk's centre forward who's gone to Spurs for £45 million, because that guy did nada versus Servette, right? They drag games down to their level, and that's a credit to them and maybe a frustration for us because we allowed that to go that way. But they did make it ugly, they did stick in, and they did fight to the very last whistle, and that was the tail of the tape of them all season long. And they've showed it in European football, and they showed it right to the last bit of European action, thankfully at the hands of Rangers, right? So I think you can look at it for both ways. You can maybe be frustrated at how Rangers played and start calling us crap and say, oh, this guy's terrible, this guy's terrible. Or you can look at it, Rangers managed to roll their sleeves up in a tough situation versus a tough side and just get the job done. It's early European round, people. It's just about getting the job done, and we did that. So I'm not as frustrated and annoyed as a lot of people online. I'm stressed to the max, and I'm probably disappointed in how we played individually to a man, and especially a couple performances. But I look at this, people, 5 million bank, we proceed, we play a much better side in PSV in the next round. We're going to have to be a hell of a lot better, but all I can do is reflect on what we've done, and what we've done is complete the mission, and then we move on. And that's how I'm sort of feeling in this game, and I think a lot of us have to say a thank you to one man, and one man specifically, because for me there was 3 men on this part of the day that really stood up and refused to allow this game to piddle and fall away and maybe become a disaster of a European night. The first one is none other than Jack Butland. And yes, I'm talking about the save already. Yes, I'm showing the save already, because that there is a McGregor moment wrapped up in a beautiful Jack Butland package. Can we just say thank you to Jack Butland, because he has well and truly silenced any doubter of this man's ability, because if there is one man who's kept us in European football so far this season, it's none other than that man. With not only that save you saw a couple seconds ago, but just his overall performance and his other big save, which we'll talk about later on. For me, Jack Butland was absolutely huge in this game. The longer you watch the video, the more you hear his name. The other 2 people are the other 2 midfielders, and that might surprise a lot of people, because you might say, CJ, we never had a midfield, and trust me, we'll get on that later on, because I still didn't understand this formation. But despite the madness and the tree-esque formation that we're trying to do, and players being asked to do 17 jobs besides the one they're probably best at, 2 players in the middle of the park stood out for me. Big Jose, especially in that first half, when besides Butland, Jose was the only Rangers player that really looked like a player for me, and was grabbing him and trying things and going nearlies, and was willing to take the extra touch, was willing to try and find someone going forward. For me, especially as in 45 minutes, he was vital, almost as vital as a Butland was in between the sticks in the 45. You take Jose away for that first 45, I don't know who's getting on the ball. And that's no me taking a dig at the next man I want to shout out, by the way, because wee Raskin excelled, and the longer that game went on, the more he kept running and running and running. And when it isn't your day, and when everything isn't always pretty, and when everything's no coming off, to keep your head and just keep running and working and working and working is how not only you solidify yourself as a fan favourite, but you be a true Rangers midfielder and a true leader in a Rangers team. And I saw this man making sprints and tracks backs, and even when he misplaced the pass, running 30, 40 yards, getting the shoulder to shoulder, winning it back 82nd minute. That for me is a reason to celebrate and speak, because I've seen some things online saying, oh, the Rangers fans just lap up everything he did. If you watch that performance for a midfielder and saw how much hard work he put into that game and how much he left everything out in that park and you're not impressed, I don't know what to actually say to you, because to me, I sat back and said, there you are, there's someone who's refusing to let this game go as well, and he's given everything he's got. I mean, you saw him coming off the park, the guy was drenched like he's just done a number 9.9 for a top, a diving board, but the big laddie, or wee laddie, I should say, gave it his all. So for me, the three pillars of this Rangers win, or progression, I should say, was the three of them, and that might surprise a lot of people because obviously the skipper was on the scoreline, but the longer you watch today's video, the more you actually see that. So let's get into the actual game recap then, shall we? Because believe it or not, people, despite everything I've said so far, the first 5 minutes was absolutely delicious. We had them pinned in, they were panicking, they were giving us corner after corner, they were kicking out, we were chasing them, we were hounding them in, and I was saying, oh right, this is an angry Rangers team, this is absolutely beautiful. And in their very first attack, not only their first attack, I genuinely think it was the first time they made 3 passes in a row. Somebody can fact check me in the comment section, but I'm sure the very first time Servette connected 3 passes in the game, they split our defence into, ran in behind us and forced Jack Butland into a truly outrageous save to keep us in this tie. And I love the way, again, we've already mentioned it, we've already showed it, but for me, I'm never going to get tired of showing it or tired of speaking about it, because that is what won you this game, or won you this tie, I should say. Phenomenal, just the way he makes himself big at the last minute, Peter Schmeichel-esque, or if you want to use the old Rangers advantage, very Gorham-esque, the way he just spreads himself very, like making himself as big, and that's the highest compliment you can actually give a Rangers goalie. Again, I'm not saying he's there yet or anything like that, or if he'll ever get to Gorham level, but that save, the way he spread himself at the very last minute, making himself from small to really big, playing into the mind the striker, was Gorham-esque, and it was a truly fantastic save. But again, people, you take the save away, the tracking back, the defending's dreadful, when you're sitting back thinking, we are in absolute control of this game. How should we be 1-0 down? How does this happen? And I think it's got a lot to do with the formation. And look, I'm not going to sit here and moan and complain and say this and this, but the formation is the biggest worry I've got being a Rangers fan, because it's not only narrow, it's ridiculously narrow, people. You know, I mean, you see the way we play and the way we're lining up, and teams are just going, alright, they're just switching it constantly and playing out wide. And I do find it very ironic, people, for a team that refuses and doesn't want to play with wingers. Any team that has remotely capable or competent wingers is ripping us to shred week in and week out. It was the same versus Kilmarnock. Livingston's best joy, that they got rare in it in that game, but the best joy came from the wing position, and over the 2 games, Servette's the most dangerous again from the winger position, people. And it is a big worry, and it is a worry for me going forward, because if this is what we are building everything for, and again, players will get better and get sharper, but it's still built like that, I do feel like it's going to cost us a lot of silly goals, because the midfielders are getting asked to not only play the centre, but to help the fullbacks, because there's no wingers there to come back and help them anymore. So the midfielders are getting spread out to here, then we Raskin sitting there himself, and then people are running by him, and it's maddening to see over and over again. But I am very thankful we did make a slight adjustment in the second half and quiet it down. But that first half was tough to watch. Speaking of tough to watch, let's get to the 23rd minute of the game then, shall we? One simple long ball, big soapy Suter, who I gave a lot of praise to when he played at right centre back, just misses the header. It's poor for the big man. His biggest asset for me, besides obviously his ball playing defending, but if you ask him what's his biggest asset, it's in the air. Big cinder block, yeah, he should be getting his head on it and getting rid of it. It just misses it. The ball ends up bouncing down the other shot. I think it hits off Connor Goldson as he blocks the shot. It then comes down, goes perfectly to them. Of course it does, people. They pass it down the right hand side at Rangers, and to be fair, it is an absolute outrageous finish. But for me, as a Rangers fan, and maybe I am being bitter, I think Suter should have heeded that, and then I think Tavernier and Golson's got to close that a hell of a lot quicker than it was actually closed, because the boy just bends it round him. Outrageous finish and all, giving Butland no chance. I think I can be a wee bit moany and complaining when I see how we reacted to the original shot, because we're so slow to get out and so slow to put pressure on. But maybe I'm just moaning for the sake of it, people. It was an outrageous finish, but for me, it's Rangers defending. And then the game was quiet. People, there was definitely wasn't something in the 30th minute that we need to talk about or anything like that, because Raskin didn't win a 50-50 that may look like an 80-20. People, he won it so brilliantly, and then it goes to Cantwell, and Cantwell runs away with that blonde mane, running away for two of them. He feeds Jose down the right hand side. Danilo's pointing, Sima is pointing, Jose delivers to the back post, Sima misses it, but Danilo is there ready to celebrate, and somehow he's hit it at the bar. Van Vossen is on the phone, and he's just said, thank you, it is bad. People, now again, to us, we've all made that. We've missed that, people, alright? We miss that in fives every single week. The ball's bounced before it, we've no judged it, we've hit it at the bar. We've all done it, but Rangers striker, Danilo, you should be scoring. But maybe where the karma check went out one way, it came back in another, because where we should have made it 1-1 with that tap in for Danilo, they should have made it 2-0 just a couple minutes later, and it's so bad again defending another header. This time it's Goldson. And now, you talk about cinder blocks. You look at that and you think, does that got a gravitational pull? How is he only spooning this header to the left? He hits it straight to a Servette player. To be fair, it's a very good counter-attack down behind us, but just look at, can you just go back and watch? I know it's on BBC and all that. Just go and have a wee look at the highlights and watch Barisic try and play the offside trap here. Honestly, I've not got many black hairs left on the grey noggin, Barisic. This isn't helping. The boy tries to do an offside trap about a week after the ball's played, and then just doesn't even run back. He just doesn't. And then he just watches it, and the boy runs through, and then the guy that Barisic has let run off him is screaming in the middle of the park. I'm having Sakala flashbacks to Dundee United, what was it, last year or the year before, I should say, when Diallo had the ball. Remember, he just had to sweat it for the goal? Well, that was what they had this afternoon, people. And again, what goes around comes around, because where we saw greed on that day, they saw greed on that one, and that will be a moment that Servette fans and players will be thinking about all night long, because all he has to do is pass that across. Barisic, he's left his man. The man's got a tap in, but he tries to shoot. And to be fair, who's there to say nana? It is none other than Jack Butland. So Butland saves us again, but that really could and should have been 2-0. And the rest of the first half, people, for the next 10 or so minutes was about as rough can be. Again, we were just looked lost. They were cutting in far too easily. We were far too narrow. They were scaring the living you-know-what skew of us. So we got to half-time, and it was probably one of those footballing cliches that we needed to hear. We just needed to get to half-time. And to be fair, Beale did tweak a couple of things with the midfield, tried to pull them back in just a little bit, and it definitely made a difference, because the second half Rangers side was just completely different in every way, shape and form than the first side. It didn't even look like the same team, if I'm honest. The way we went about our business, the way we attacked, we started asking some more questions. I mean, 30 seconds in, Cantwell does brilliantly, gets on the ball, he passes it right into the middle of the park. Danilo flicks up with a back heel, Cantwell headers it for about 6-7 yards out, but he can't get a lot of power on it. I'm saying, right, that's actually some football. It's about time we actually see it. The Farmass Rangers that we talked about again coming in sports. We just spoke about it a couple minutes after that. Again, Raskin does brilliantly well, man. Raskin really grabbed this second half by the scruff of the neck. Dare I say, Fergie vibes. People, can I say that? I don't know if you'll shout at me, but just the way he grabbed it, that's what it reminded me, and he hit an unbelievable ball into the mixer that we should do a hell of a lot better with, but obviously we didn't, because it isn't time to celebrate yet. And he also has a shot that's just flicked over the bar as well with the goalkeeper, but it's kind of straight arm, but at least it was pressure. And what happens when you get pressure? You occasionally get diamonds, and that leads us to Barisic, people, and it just hits one of the best crosses. No one else can do this cross, and this is what drives me mental about this Croatian young man, because no one else can cross like him. But It's the other stuff you need to put up with, but I'm not going to talk about the negatives because sometimes you need to look at the positives, people, and this here is just an outrageous cross that again nobody else is doing in this league, right to the back post. And who's there putting it in? Is it our big summer signings? No, they're nowhere near it. It is Tavernier, people, fullback to fullback, and when I tell you both of them were put into the worst performances I've seen in 45 minutes for a wee while, I'm telling you, and I say that as a Tav fanboy, I'm a Tav defender, but he was passing the ball to play, he was overhitting passes, he was running out the ball. It was awful for the first half, but credit to him as well for bouncing back in the second half. And again, Barisic to Tavernier, how many times we said it, but that's the goal that gets us back into the game. And when I say we needed it, we definitely did. And after that moment right there, I never once for the rest of the game was worried, and that might surprise a lot of people given how the first 47 minutes of the game actually went. But as soon as we made it 1-1, I feel like Barisic got confidence for the assist, Tavernier got confidence for the goal, and when they play or they feel good, people, it drastically impacts what the opposition can do. Because I mean this, right, when I say it, our fullbacks are completely one of a kind. You'll never see a pair of fullbacks like the ones we have at Rangers, and I'm not talking about in our league, I'm talking about worldwide, because they are so dangerous at going forward. They create numerous opportunities for us per game, and one of them's creating it, the other one's scoring it every single game for us. But also, people, they create the best opportunities for the opposition because in mad moments defensively, and that's what makes them so unique. They're absolute must-see TV if you want to steal an Attitude Era commentary line, people, because they're either costing you a goal or creating or scoring you one, and that's the life of a Rangers fullback. But people, we need to announce it. That's Barisic's third assist in his last 3 games, and it's not only that. If you look at this tie as a whole, must-win Champions League games the last 2 just to get us that 5 mil and give us an opportunity versus PSV. We scored 3 goals over the 2 legs, right? Barisic assisted 2 of the 3 goals, and our other fullback, Tavernier, scored 2 of the 3 goals. So as exciting, as sexy as all the new signings have been and how excited we are about this guy and this guy and this guy, it's the old, almost frustrating guard that's pulled us through the last 2 games. It's not been any of the summer signings just yet, people. The ones that's doing the most difficult job in football, either creating or scoring the goals, are the frustrating old guard. And aye, that's what drives you crazy, people, because you watch the games, you see what I'm seeing, and it's mental defensively. But where would we be if them going forward? That's what's really scary. Now, the rest of the game was what it was. Raskin again started to really impose himself into the game. He hit another great cross that Dessers really should score here, by the way. And I think, touching on something we just said, I think it is a mental situation to be in, a fan. When you see a ball come in to the 8-yard box and Big Dessers there, your number 9 is there, and he headers it out of the bar, I'd be more confident if that ball was coming in, not to my number 9 big summer signing, but my right back. I'd be more confident with my right back scoring the header than N in my strikers, and that is the only thing you can experience being a Rangers fan, ladies and gentlemen. No other club in the world's got this feeling. It's ours. So enjoy it. We should have wrapped the game up in the 78th minute after Cantwell does so well just to dig in and almost win another 50-50 as it just gambles and really puts his body on the line to flick it in behind Dessers, who showed calm, showed composure. Now, I think the commentators tried to say the goalie did save it, so if he did, fair play, but I didn't see it that way. I thought he just hit the inside of the post, and again, that's just unlucky. I mean, when the luck's against you, the luck is against you. I didn't think it was the best performance I've seen for Dessers in a Rangers shot when he came on, but I thought he'd done everything right, sat the goalie down, tapped it to the side, hit the inside of the post, but as usual, it ended up coming out. But aye, if the goalie did save that, somebody can correct me in the comments. Fair play, that is an outrageous save. But I just thought we were real unlucky with the way it hit the post. And aye, we maybe huffed and puffed another couple of wee situations, but we started to make the subs. Obviously, Jose ended up coming off, Sterling came on, and Sterling must be looking at Michael Beale in that first half, trying to make eye contact to see if he can go on the park. That was how poor Tav was playing in the first half. But if you take your skipper off, if you take Tav off, no one else is scoring that goal because no one else is gambling getting to the back post. Our captain won us 5 mil this afternoon, so aye, say what you say I want about him and call me a fanboy if you want, but if you take him away, We're not getting that. My man Dowell ended up coming on the park, and honestly there was tears dripping from my eyes. He came on for the last 3 minutes and his first action was to stop an attack for Rangers and run right into the corner. Oh god, I could have felt in my knees with tears in my eyes. That's the shithouse that we need. That's the Rebo moves that we need. Everybody else wanted to get in the ball and cross the ball. No, Dowell got the ball and ran into the corner. More of that please. Again, being an important squad player. And they had a couple set pieces to the end, but nothing really troubled us. And again, I hope I'm not seeming like I'm being disrespectful or anything like that to the opposition in the second half, but they offered none for us. And I feel like because we started to do our jobs and stopped hurting ourselves with how wide open and stupid our formation actually was, we saw their best attacks are coming down to the width, so we added a bit of width to the team. And look what happened. Hopefully that penny's dropped going forward, because when we play narrow like that and ask our midfielders to go here, there and everywhere, it's a mess to watch. But when we've done the basics in the second half, look how easy the game maybe turned out, and you probably wouldn't be expecting that if you heard 1-1, you heard nippy bum time, scare this, scare that, but they never created a major opportunity in the entire second half. It was all the first half they could and should have been away, and hopefully we can learn something for that game and move on and maybe tweak and change the formation, because for me it's far too narrow, especially the way we start games, and we're just going to be hurt if we're going to be trying to play that narrow versus PSV, who play wide constantly for 180 minutes. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's all I'm going to talk about the game. For me, it was an ugly early round European game, but we got through. That's all I care about. My man of the match for me is a tough one, because again you have the three pillars of this victory in terms of progression, and that is Raskin, and Jack Butland. But as I've never gave him a man of the match so far, I'm going to give it to Jack Butland. Those two saves gave us the platform to progress in European football. He's already shown he is capable, and more than capable, of being a Rangers number one. But what about you? Let me know your thoughts and opinions. Who stood out to you? What went wrong? What went right on the day? Who was your man of the match? It'd be fantastic to see your thoughts and opinions. And hell, if you did enjoy the video at any time, please consider hitting that like button. It does really drastically help the channel. I know it's annoying and that, people, but a lot goes into the channel, and it really does make a massive difference if you hit that like button. But until next time, I've been Sage92. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be away to lie down, and bye bye.